David, I'm going to compare your swing to Grant Wade, who played on the PGA Tour in the 90s and at that time was considered having one of the best swings in golf. He's now one of the top instructors for tour players. Always begin at the impact position, which is the most important position, because everything the ball does, how high it goes, how far it goes, how much it curves, is determined by the club's position at the moment of impact. The ball's on the face of the club about 4 or 5 milliseconds. So the laws of physics and motion that exist during that fraction of a second is what determines ball flight. The club's position at impact is determined by the body's position at impact. And everything you do prior to impact has the sole purpose of arriving at a fundamentally sound impact position.
Now let's look at some of the important fundamentals of impact. In order to hit a ball on the ground consistently solid, so you maximize your ball speed, you must hit down on the ball and hit the ball before you hit the ground. This requires you to have the low point of your swing in front of the golf ball. This pro hit a series of balls that were on the white line, and you can see how every divot is in front of the line. In order to place the low point in front of the ball, you must do two main things. First, you must have the majority of your weight on your left side at the moment of impact. The average pro will have 85% of their weight on their left foot at impact. I've drawn a box from the center of both ankles up to the top of the head, and you can clearly see that the red line from Grant's left foot is passing right through his belt buckle. Your weight is evenly balanced between both feet, which places the low point of your swing either at the ball or even behind the ball. This will cause you to come into the ball too level and result in hitting the ground behind the ball or hitting the ball thin or even topping the ball. The second thing the pro does to help them hit down the ball is they get their hands in front of the ball before they hit the ball. This creates a shaft lean towards the target and allows Grant to hit down on the golf ball. You can see where your hands are more right on top of the ball. There's not much shaft lean. This makes it difficult, if not impossible, for you to hit down on the golf ball. Another important part of the impact position is the importance of keeping a constant radius in your golf circle. This is accomplished by keeping your left arm extended all the way through the swing. You can see how Grant's left arm is nice and straight and in line with the shaft of the club at impact. You have bent elbows and your elbows are separating from each other as you go through impact. And this will cause inconsistency at hitting the ball solid. Now let's look at some of the positions of the golf swing prior to impact and to see what may be causing you to have difficulty arriving at a fundamentally sound impact position. Here we are in the one position, the start of the swing, and you can see how Grant and you both have a nice shaft lean in the club. Your hands are slightly in front of the golf ball, so that's very good. Now Grant does have a little better extension in both arms as he addresses the golf ball. And your arms are a little bit bent in the elbows as you start your swing. So one of the things that would be helpful is to develop a better setup where you have extended arms and your arms are sitting more on top of your chest. Also, it looks as if your posture is a little bit it's too bent over, and you need to stand up a little bit taller, a little bit more athletic. You have flared both of your feet out. That'll help you a great deal as you develop the proper weight shift during a golf swing. So that's very good. Here we are in the 3 position. This is when the left arm is parallel to the ground. And you can see how Grant has maintained his weight on his left side. He has more weight still on his left foot than he does his right foot. He has turned to the right, but he has not swayed or leaned to the right. And you have moved your body towards your back foot, and you've swayed to the right. And this will make it more difficult to get back to the left foot in time in order to have the majority of your weight on your left side at impact. Also in the 3 position, Grant has maintained a nice extension in his left arm, and he has almost completely hinged his wrist in the proper 90-degree angle. So he has loaded his hands and has sufficient power now to unload the club into the golf ball on the downswing. You've already bent your left arm a little bit, which is going to cost you some power and consistency. Also, you have not really properly hinged your wrist during the backswing, and this will also cost you power. So in order to have a little bit more power, you need to learn how to properly hinge your wrist in the backswing. Here we are on the top of the backswing, the fourth position, and you can see how Grant still has a good extension in his left arm. He's got the angle between his arm and shaft. He's still heavily on his left side, if we do that box again. And you have moved quite a bit to your right side. In fact, you've come off the left foot during your backswing. Also in the backswing, you have your right elbow very high, and you've disconnected your club and your arms from your body. You can see how Grant has his right elbow down. His armpit is closed, and his upper right arm is actually against his right side. So when he moves his chest and shoulders and body, he's moving his arms, which are connected to his chest, and you've kind of disconnected your arms from your body. Here we are in the ninth position, one of the post-impact positions, and Grant has kept his arms extended and in front of his chest as he swings off of that back foot and into the left side. Your elbows are separating, and that's going to cost you power when you do that. Also, when you look at how the wrists are crossed at this position, Grant is hinging his wrist upward, which places the left hand under the right hand when he gets to this ninth position. You are cupping the back of your left wrist and as your left elbow bends, and that puts your left hand above the right hand. And so you don't have the proper release of the club and the proper rehinging of the wrist in an upward direction. You're not supposed to roll over your wrist, but hinge your wrist. Here we are on the 10th position, the final position of the golf swing. Grant is solid on his left side. He's facing the target, and he's on the tip of his back foot. He can completely support all of his body weight off of that left leg and left hip. You are behind your left foot. You're actually in the process of falling backwards a little bit. You are facing the target. I like that a lot. Your shoulders and your hips have rotated and you're facing the target. But I need you to shift more forward so that you're on top of your left leg so that you could support your entire body weight on your left leg. Going forward, you don't want to work on too many things at once, so there's a few things I would want you working on first in order to make progress in your golf swing. One is, as you start your swing, I would like a little better setup where you stand a little taller, don't bend over quite as much. Let your arms be more extended and let your triceps sit more on top of your chest. And then learn how to turn to the right, keeping your weight on your left side. And when you turn, you want to properly hinge the wrist. And the only other thing is to start getting a feeling of keeping your arms connected, and not let your right arm come away from your side as much as it does. There are some drills that you can do to learn this feeling, and in a very short amount of time, in one session, you could learn how to hit the ball so much more solid and get so much more power out of a lot less effort.